This week on Talk of the Town, we stopped by Hanging Arrow Barber Company and chatted with Clay Summers about his profession. We then took a stroll around the farmers market and talked with downtown manager Sarah Mormon. The show finishes off with Parks and Recreation Director Zach LeFevre and a glimpse at the new Shoshone Mural.
Initially, I was working for Costco down in Utah County, and I decided that I didn't want to work retail the rest of my life, and I wanted to have some control over my schedule and be around for my family. And I had some buddies that were barbers down there, and I pitched the idea to them because we were talking about moving back up here, get closer to family, and I told them I think I'd like to be a barber, and we're moving back up to Tremonton. There's no barbers up there. It's growing like crazy. I think it's a good market, and they were really encouraging. So we moved up here in February 2020, and then I went to barber school down in Ogden that fall and graduated in 2021, early spring, and then been working ever since. I was cutting out of my house on the side, and then I opened this up just over a year ago in April 2022. It's so busy I can hardly keep up, which I thought it would do well because the area is growing and there was an opening in the market, but I've had so much support from the community out here that I can, like I said, I can just hardly even keep up anymore. I'm pushing people out about a week anymore. So yeah, that's the success, is just the people are coming, they're showing up, and I couldn't be more pleased and grateful. And there's no really consistent age that I'm catering to. I get anywhere from 2 and 3 years old. That's not as common. I generally don't get a lot of kids under 5, but I get a lot of little kids all the way up to a lot of retirees. So high school kids, I do a lot of the high school kids. It's a lot of fun. As far as services that I provide, it's pretty straightforward. I do 3 things. I do a haircut, beard trim, and a straight razor shave. And you can combo those however you want. So it's pretty simple. As far as how I'm different, or as a barber, I provide different services than like a cosmetologist or someone you would find in a salon. I don't do any color, any chemicals, no perms. It's strictly hair styling and cutting, and I specialize in men's hair and beards and shaving. So I have ladies occasionally come in and ask if I cut women's hair, and I'm licensed for it. I don't recommend myself because I do specialize in men's hair, and in particular working with facial hair and straight razor shaves. We use a lot of hot towels in here because that's what makes it a luxury service, or part of what makes it a luxury service at least. So I use at least 2 towels on every client that comes in for that hot towel neck shave, and if they're getting a face shave as well, I'll use another 2. So yeah, 2 to 4 towels per client. So it adds up to a lot of laundry. I do a very large load every other day. So eventually when we expand and get into a bigger space, I've got to have on-site laundry because it's getting ridiculous. One of my favorite parts of the barbering industry is the tradition and the heritage behind it. That's why I cut out of a 1950s barber chair. I have an older one that's about 100 years old. You can come hang out in the corner of the shop here. That I don't cut with guards. I like to use traditional straight razors when I can. I just like the traditional aspect of an old school barber shop and the classy nature of that. So that's what I try to provide. That's why I use the vintage techniques and tools that I do. And I mean, I think it fits the town. It comes with the profession. I don't walk around in a tie every day, but this was the type of industry that, again, that's what I liked about the industry, is it kind of calls you to step up and be a little more classy, and because that's what you're trying to help people do, is feel classy when they leave. So yeah, I'd like to say that I dress dapper all the time, but I don't. The Hanging Arrow is my family's cattle brand. I grew up on a farm out west of town in Thatcher and Bothwell, and so the Hanging Arrow is the brand that we'd stick in our cattle. So growing up, I mean, I wasn't going to be a farmer. I knew that early on, but I figured I could carry on the legacy in my own way and incorporate that name into my barber shop, and here we are. So my goal is to eventually run a 4 or 5 chair shop and have a few barbers underneath me, and there's definitely a need for it out here. So I'm just waiting for the right location to come up, I'd like to buy a building in town, and when that happens, we'll grow and we'll be bigger. I've got a collection of barber chairs ready to be filled just as soon as I got the space for them. Come hang out, come visit, check out the shop, and see if you like it. I think you will.
Josie works with me. Told me her brother needed some help practicing shaving. Okay, it's the barber school, give it a shot. And went over every Saturday for quite a while Clay was in barber school. Got a shave in the morning, and he had better shaves than others at first, but he kept improving.
What he means to say is I left him bleeding every week for a long time until I learned how to use a straight razor.
It took a second, but he got a lot better. 2.5 years I've been coming to see Clay. I don't want my old hairdresser to think that I didn't like going to see her. She was amazing. But at the same time, going to see a hairdresser versus a barber, it seems like a barber just knows what he's doing with men's hair. Clay has shown me a couple things that I didn't know about how to do my hair that have been really, really awesome. Different products that are available specifically for men. And so just the expertise, honestly, that's what I've really liked. Give it a try. The straight razor is amazing. I always kind of thought it'd be a little scary, but he does a really good job with it. Gives a good crisp edge. Feels nice as well. So, Clay's amazing. Give him a shot.
We're here with Sarah Moorman, who's the downtown manager for Tremonton City, and today you guys have another farmers market event going on. Just tell us a little bit about how that has happened.
So the farmers market started last year. I'm a local business owner here in town, and I noticed our downtown was dead. And so I was trying to come up with ways to bring people downtown, just to be downtown, but then also to kind of help boost our local businesses. And so I went and talked with our mayor, and I talked with Zach in Parks and Rec and proposed the idea. We got it approved, and we started the farmers market. And so this is our second year. It's been really fun. We had a lot of crafts and some produce last year. This year, when we started, the majority of our vendors signed up for the whole season. And then we had probably close to 40% of our booths being consumable goods, baked goods, salsas, produce starts, anything like that. So our goal is to get to at least 50% of that. And so it's the second year, that was pretty awesome.
What do you feel an event like this does for Tremonton City?
I think just the community environment is probably the most important thing. Just seeing people hang out downtown, catch up with people they haven't seen in a while or didn't even realize grew something or made something is really fun. Having the events like the watermelon eating contest or giving out the hot dogs and with our city leaders here is just it's good to have that connection with our city leaders and our residents. And then it supports our businesses because people wander into these stores. They want to get out of the crowd, and they wander into these stores and they start supporting them, or they didn't even know they existed before coming down here. So last year, because it was kind of a last-minute event we threw together, we couldn't get any food trucks for the holiday weekend. And so as a city, we decided, let's pull out the grills, let's do some hot dogs, let's watermelon eating contest, which was initially going to be a pie eating contest just for our city leaders. To get them to participate, we did watermelon and included the kids. And then the mayor wanted to do it again this year. We worked with our food trucks to make sure they were okay with that, and we brought it back. Kids have been asking for months when we were going to do the watermelon again, so we had to do it.
And then you guys are going to do this through October. What are some of the other big things that are going to be coming up that people ought to watch for?
So the biggest is going to be, you're going to start seeing the produce showing up in the next couple of markets in August and September and obviously October. But the next big thing will be October when the kids that were given their pumpkin seeds in May will bring back their giant pumpkins. We'll weigh them. We'll see which one is the biggest, and we have some awards for that. But it's everything pumpkin. We have pumpkins all throughout the square. We have pumpkin activities and crafts, everything fall. So we have just about 40 vendors in tents, and then we'll have food trucks in addition to that, and that's about our max. We don't plan on ever leaving the downtown Midland Square. We do have online applications on our city website. Right now we're currently waitlisting for the rest of the season. Unless you are a produce person, we do have some room for produce. Just come out to the farmers market. It's a lot of fun. There's so many people out here, so many good vendors that are local, handmade. We don't sell anything mass produced here. So it's really supporting our local community.
Tell us a little bit about your experience of how you became the downtown manager and some of the other roles you have.
So a lot of it came just from running the farmers market. I essentially did this all volunteer last year, and the city was pretty impressed with what I was able to accomplish and essentially wanted more and needed to be compensated. And Sean, our city manager, and I kind of worked together last summer, created a plan. We did a lot of research on downtown revitalizations and different aspects, and then went to city council and presented that to them, and they loved it and decided to hire me on as a contractor with the city to do that. I also was hired on to run the city's social media, so they can better communicate with our residents through social media, which the majority of us are on social media and communicate there. So between the two of them, that's what I do with the city.
We're here with Parks and Recreation Director Zach LeFevre, and today we're talking about a new mural that's been added. Tell us a little bit about the history of the murals in Tremonton.
So that all started back in the 70s with the mystery muralist. He was a hippie, so-called, that took his own hair, made paintbrushes, and then just went around and painted murals around the Bear River Valley, some in Cache Valley. I know of one all the way up in Pocatello, but majority of his work was done here around town. So we used to have at least 3 that we know of. There's still 2 that have survived and are present today that can be accounted for. So, yep.
And how did the idea of the Shoshone Mural come about, and how long has it been in the works?
Yeah, so the murals have been around since then. We've done several about the history of the community, and this one of Chief Sagwitch and the Shoshone tribe was something that some members of the Tremonton Arts Council have been wanting to do for a long time. And with the history of the area, it dates back to them. They were the first people here. Chief Sagwitch was involved in the Bear River Massacre. He survived that with some of his family, and there wasn't many that survived that, but he got healed up and went his way. He and Lyle's great-grandfather became close friends, and his grandfather learned the language and so that they could communicate, and he lived in Brigham City. And so Chief Sagwitch was down over in Manaway, was shot again by some white settlers. Lyle's great-grandfather went over and brought him back to heal him up. And Chief Sagwitch, through all this trial and adversity, knew what was coming. He knew that this land was going to change forever, but he wanted the best of it. He wanted to peacefully bring his people together with the new people. So that's what his whole message is about: peace and hope, and bringing people together. We feel that's a great message to share as the city, and that's his legacy. We want it to live on, and this is part of that legacy and our way to help it live. This location is right on Main Street. It is facing a very busy parking lot, so we feel it'll get a lot of foot traffic and a lot of visibility.
Tell me a little bit about the process of selecting an artist and why you felt like Derek was your guy.
Yeah, for this one, we joined up, the Arts Council and the tribe joined, the Shoshone tribe joined up together, and we took it to them first. They thought it was a good idea to move forward with it. Next step in the process was to secure the wall. We worked on that for a little bit with Johnny Cray, who's the owner of the building, and at the same time we were putting out a selection process and a call for artists. The council reviewed those submissions, and everyone fell in love with the No Sun's concept and his connection to the tribe as well. The tour it's great. It brings people from all over the area, not just the area, I guess. People come from the valley, Salt Lake Valley. They come from out of state to come and view the murals, which is surprising. We see people, especially the Candy Bomber mural, which was done in 2020. People come, and we see people come and show respect to that just for that mural alone, to come to the area. So it's been a great thing. Back in 2014 is when we really started pushing it a little more, yeah, people love it. It gives us the community a sense of pride, and helping them know the history of the area and the community. So
Tune in next week to see the completed mural and hear what artist No Sun Brown had to say. That and more are next week.